Hi everyone, Grandad here again. Now today I'm doing another video in my geology series, and today I thought we'd have a little talk about one of the minerals. Now, a mineral, as we've said, is very similar to rocks, fossils and minerals, which we talk about, and this particular mineral can look like a rock, which it is a rock, but it's a very special kind of rock. And it's one of the rocks that's the most plentiful on the earth, and it's actually silicon dioxide or quartz. Now I happen to have a piece of quartz rock here. Let's turn the light around a little bit more perhaps. Now quartz rock, generally speaking, is white. And you can see that is a white rock, and it looks like any rock you might pick up off the ground. In fact, the reason I brought this particular piece in was to show that it can just look like a white, hard rock. Now, I haven't got any acid with me here, but if I put some acid on this, even if I put just a little bit of vinegar or something, nothing would happen, because this particular rock doesn't react with anything like acid. So you can tell it's not calcite by testing it with a bit of acid. But the interesting thing about this rock, this particular one, if you look on this side of it, it's got crystals growing on that side, and you can see that they're white. Now, silicon dioxide is an element or a mineral which is made up of two parts silicon and oxygen, and I'm told that the reason this is milky white, why quartz is milky white very often, is because it's got a lot of oxygen in it. And when it's got a lot of oxygen, it appears just pure white. And you find this lots on beaches, and it forms in intrusions and forms in cracks in the Earth's crust, which we've talked about, where gases come up and they solidify and silicon comes up with them. And very often they're associated with other minerals like copper, silver, gold, sphalerite, which is a zinc ore, zinc blend, or blackjack as they call it in the mining industry. So it's a gang mineral. It's one of the minerals you find associated, and one of the things they would look for when looking for minerals, precious metals and things, they would look for quartz veins, cracks in the earth which are filled with quartz, what they call quartz veins. Now, you're perhaps not very familiar with that. That's an easy one to find. But most people, when they talk about quartz crystals, they talk about things like this. Now, this is a quartz crystal, and I've got lots of them. But this is a particular one with a bit of interest, because if you look, it's got black bits in it. Now, those are rutile. What they call rutile is another mineral which we may get talking about later. But those black bits are rutiles. So they refer to this as being rutilated quartz. And that's quite a nice quartz crystal, rutilated. Now, another quartz crystal I've got here is this one. This is another quartz crystal, and it's got a strange end on it. And they refer to this one as a septed quartz. Now, the reason they have all these different strange names is because a lot of people believe that quartz has special properties in the healing line. And you'll hear people talk about quartz crystals as being some sort of mineral that can heal people. And maybe that's true. I don't know. I don't debunk that by any means. I mean, maybe it does, because believe me, quartz crystals, as we shall see, have a great many properties, and we'll get onto that in a minute. But I just wanted to show you that we've already seen a geode, which was amethyst, and there's another crystal, and this is another lump off a geode, which is covered in a crystal which everybody would probably recognize as being amethyst, and it's purple. As I've said, purple means it's got iron in it, and that's a nice, what we call, crystal bed of amethyst crystals. But although they call it amethyst, it's still silicon dioxide or quartz, and there's a great many crystals. And there's another one here, a rather nice one, and this one's pink. And this is what they call rose quartz. And it just looks like a solid hard rock. It doesn't make crystals very often. You do find them, but not very often. It usually appears in these large lumps, but it isn't affected by acid. And it may look like other minerals that you've seen, but you can usually tell which it is because it's quite a dense, hard, shiny mineral. And that's rose quartz. Now, we've also said that quartz forms crystals, and it also forms agates. There's lots of agates, like the Botswana agate I showed you before. And this is another piece. And as you can see, this particular agate has little crystals on the edge, because I've sawn it through to make it into a slab. It's covered in little crystals on the edge here. And then inside it's got all the agatized rock. There's another mineral which is very similar to this, which they call chalcedony, which is another form of crystal, which is quartz, but they just give them different names. Another one, which you might have heard of, is this one. And I've only got this small lump of it here at the moment, but this is an orange quartz. Unlike the pink, it's not pink really, this is more orangey. And when it's orange, they call it carnelian. Now, carnelian is a gemstone, and if you're very clever, and I've tried it, it's very difficult to do, you can polish these crystals. And I'll try and show you this one. Oh, now it's dropped. Oh dear, where's it gone? There we are. It's not easy to show these small crystals on camera, but I'll try. I'll hold it up and try to get the light perhaps in a better position. Maybe I don't want to get it too much in the light because it'll just blind you. But that's an orange crystal of carnelian, which is exactly like that lump I showed you, but it's been polished to make it into a lovely little gemstone. Incidentally, they call these cabochons. When they've been polished like that, they refer to them as cabochon crystals. And I've got several cabochons of quartz crystals that have been polished to show their crystal structure. And I'll show you another one here. This one is a blue lace agate crystal. It's still quartz, but they call this one blue lace agate, and it's been cut into a cabochon shape and polished. That looks very nice. There's another one which they call moss agate, and this is a piece of moss agate. And if you look at it, I don't know whether you can see it on camera very easily, but this is quite a clear crystal, but it has green, looks like moss in it. Green dendritic effect inside there. I don't quite know what mineral that is inside there, what causes this green substance, I'm not sure. I mean it's not really moss, but it's they call it moss agate. And again, if that's polished, it can be turned into beautiful cabochons of moss agate. And that's another one. And I've got a whole horde of them. They're all different shapes. They come in different shapes. There's another one. Really pretty. I may get some of these by my jeweler to make these into jewels at some stage. But there's lots of them. I didn't realise there were so many in that packet. But those are moss agate. And another one, which again you may not think of as a quartz, but it is a quartz. And that one is a thing they call tiger eye. Now I've got a tiger eye here, and you can see, hopefully, the reason they call it tiger eye is because it moves about and it looks like the eye of a tiger. Now this particular one is a gold tiger eye, and that particular stone is cut from a large lump not dissimilar to this one. And I've got a large lump here of tiger eye. Now what they do, they saw this up, cut it into pieces, and make beautiful gemstones out of it. So that's tigereye, but it comes in different colours. It comes in blue, and it comes in red or orangey colour. So they have red tigereye, gold tigereye, and blue tigereye. And I think I'm right in saying that the actual tigereye effect is asbestos within the material. Asbestos somehow gets in there, and asbestos is associated with tiger eyes. Now here's another little crystal that I bought in case you were wondering. This is a clear crystal, a little quartz crystal. And this is a perfectly clear one. Now these perfectly clear crystals, as I say, the healers believe they have strange mystical properties. And they do have properties, but they're not so mystical as they might think. But during the war, I think they discovered it at the end of the First World War, but certainly they used it in the Second World War. They used quartz crystals in electronics. And if you want to find out more about that, I suggest you go onto the internet and ask to see videos of how quartz crystals were used to make oscillating crystals or diodes that they used in communications and wartime radio communications. They don't use them so much now. You've heard of quartz watches, and you've heard of quartz crystals being used in screens on cameras and things, I think. But they used to use them in electronics. And the reason that is because if you cut them, and I've got a piece here of a cut crystal, they are possible with a diamond saw to cut crystals through. And this is a big crystal. This was a huge crystal, and I've cut slices of it. And so you can see that this is a section through